Hi, my name is Jeff Herndon. I'm the head of the Department of Political Science. I'm also the faculty advisor for Pi Sigma Alpha. It's Holocaust Days of Remembrance. We've had a little crisis with our presentation, and we're going to send the slides that we have for you. They are not here right now, but for purposes of the presentation, I thought I'd talk a little bit about what the Holocaust Days of Remembrance program is. Also address the questions related to the Student Service Fees Committee that we have, and also answer any questions that you have about the program. The Holocaust Days of Remembrance is an annual event that's put on in cooperation between Pi Sigma Alpha, the National Honor Society for Political Science, and the Department of Political Science at Texas A&M University Commerce. The purpose of the Holocaust Remembrance event is it's an opportunity for students to, across campus and beyond the campus, because we've done our best to turn it into a community-wide event, and so that students have a greater understanding of the Holocaust as an event in history, and also the moral and political implications of genocide from the Holocaust to the present. And actually, I shouldn't say from the Holocaust to the present, because we've also had speakers talking about the Armenian genocide. The whole purpose of the program, of course, is to give students the opportunity to ask questions and reach an understanding of how and why these things happen. And also to kind of increase an understanding of the interrelationships of the human family. Usually in the course of the program we will bring in a series of Holocaust survivors and also next generation Holocaust survivors. And in previous years we've expanded the program to include scholarship on Holocaust research and genocide research. And we also bring in artifacts from the Holocaust. And we are looking to expand the artifacts that we can bring in to include things like the Rwandan genocide, simply because we're trying to take a more comprehensive view of where these things fit into the overall scheme of our history. As I said, it's open for all students, faculty. It's put on by Pi Sigma Alpha. They basically act as ushers. In addition, in the past, we've invited area schools because the state of Texas requires Holocaust education for students in high school and middle school. And basically they get half a day, whereas we can provide an opportunity for them to actually meet a Holocaust survivor, which is something that seems to be very popular. This year there was a problem related to the Holocaust. The Dallas Holocaust Museum, with whom we partnered to bring this, is getting a new building, and as part of the transfer we were unable to schedule this year's event. However, we've already got dates set aside for next year, and we've already started working with them to put together a program. I wish I could tell you more about what the program will actually be. However, the program itself is largely dependent upon the availability of Holocaust survivors to come out to Commerce, and those will not be known until like 6 weeks before the event. We have 3 days blocked off in November. Is it November or October? In early November for the Holocaust event. And we take over conference rooms A, B, and C. Part of the program is speakers. The other part is artifacts and opportunities for students to ask questions. In the past, we've had, at our speaker event, we've had between 300 and 400 people. We have literally had standing room only in conference rooms A, B, and C when we've had Holocaust speakers. And it's been a remarkably successful program on the years we're able to do it. Pi Sigma Alpha does the organization. They also act as hosts for the guests that we bring in. They also act as impromptu ushers for helping people find seats. I don't know excuse me, yesterday I went to church for Easter Sunday, and of course Easter Sunday is one of those deals where you need to find seats here and there, and that's what Pi Sigma Alpha does at the Holocaust Days of Remembrance event. There were a series of questions that the committee asked through Dr. Newsom, and I think I would like to address those each individually. The first question was justify any year-over-year increase in proposal. We have made a larger request this year for several reasons. First of all, the cost of speakers has gone up. In past years, the speakers and the Holocaust Museum charge $300 per. What happens is the Holocaust survivors themselves get a speaking fee, and in that speaking fee, they turn around and donate to the Dallas Holocaust Museum. The speaking fee has gone up from $300 to $1,000. And that being the case, whenever we bring a Holocaust survivor as a speaker to the university, it costs us more money. And generally speaking, we try to do at least one survivor each of the 3 days that we have planned. In addition to those costs, we also have the cost of transportation. They have to use certain car services to get the survivors here, just as a matter of insurance and liability, and those fees have gone up. In addition, we also provide meals for the survivors when they're here. In past years, what we try to do is we try to organize at least one meal event where some students get the opportunity to go and basically hang out with a Holocaust survivor, and those are always interesting events. That's not a general public thing, but it is an opportunity for some students to basically get a better sense of these people as human beings. The second question was about additional information to support the request. I think in the initial request we provided all the information that we really would need. Basically what the Days of Remembrance event does is it points to the interconnectedness of the world in ways that very few events actually do. It also provides an opportunity for students to learn about different cultures. As we've expanded the program to include other genocides and other human rights abuses that have been committed before the Holocaust and after, it's an opportunity to kind of confront issues of culture and culture clashes as they've occurred historically. Excuse me. The next question was about if the committee did not fund the request, what would we do? If the committee chose not to fund the request, there would still be a program. The difference would be, of course, is that the program would be dramatically scaled back. We would not have the resources either as a student organization or as the department. The department definitely doesn't have the resources to do the outreach and networking and communication that we need to pull off an event of this size. The truth is that to do something this big requires resources, and I don't know. And as Pi Sigma Alpha as a student organization does commit some of its resources to it. However, the truth is that without support, Pi Sigma Alpha and the department could still have an event. Excuse me.
I did for you.
I got it. Thank you. Sorry, it's been springtime in Texas. I don't know if anybody else has noticed. I did not have a voice last week, for which my classes were very happy. We got to watch videos, so. So basically, it would just really be a difference in scale. Instead of being able to bring in a multitude of scholars and survivors and second-generation survivors, and also survivors of other genocides, we would kind of be limited to probably a single speaker event, which doesn't quite have the same effect. One of the advantages of doing a 3-day thing is it gives multiple students and multiple stakeholders opportunities to take part in something. It also helps to justify the bringing of artifacts to Chamber of Commerce. If it's a one-day event, because the artifacts are precious, the Holocaust Museum and other donors are less likely to send them out for a single day, whereas if we're having a three-day event over time, they're more likely to give us materials that students can interact with and see. We did provide a budget with the submission that we did. We have funds left over from last year's request, and the reason is, as I said, the Holocaust Museum and the coordination between us and them was affected by the Holocaust Museum's transfer to a new building, and just as a matter of rolling the funds forward, that is something that one, we would request if we could, but also Pi Sigma Alpha would also like to, if we are able to roll those funds forward, it would actually reduce the request that we made for funding by the amount that we are rolling forward. We spend a lot of time coming up with what the actual costs would be, as opposed to, you know, trying to ballpark it and guess as to what we were doing. So we thought that that would be the best way to kind of let the committee know what we intended to do if we got funding. And I think that answers all the specific questions there. If anybody here has any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them now. Yes, sir.
I have a question. So you said it's a Pi Sigma Alpha also is a part of that. They organize that, the student org, right?
Yes.
So,
Pi Sigma Alpha is the National Honor Society for Political Science.
Okay. Have you guys ever thought about maybe requesting through another source, like SOAC, which is specifically
I don't know if
for
we've ever historically, I would have to check with previous officers. I've been advisor for Pi Sigma Alpha for about 5 or 6 years, and I don't recall any time in that time a request going through SOAC. And I would have to check with officers before then to see if such a thing had been done. I would be happy to look at that as an alternative. Excuse me, as an alternative funding source. But I don't, to the best of my recollection, we've not done that in the past.
I mean, you might qualify for that because since it's a student org, and that might be a good route to take if, in case you're not funded through here.
There's a funding limit though with SOAC.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I'm sorry?
There's a funding limit with SOAC, so I don't know if it would fund how much you need.
Right.
So Dr. Hernan, just to clarify what you said earlier, you requested 15,000. The event is going to cost 15,000.
It should cost right around 50.
Okay, so you have 6,000 that we funded last year you didn't spend.
Yes.
If we roll that, then we could use the roll to help make you whole at 15,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That would be perfectly acceptable.
Okay. So the anticipation is not that we roll it and give you 15,000.
No. Like I said, we tried to come up with a real budget that actually reflected the real costs. I am aware that sometimes people build in things so when they don't get fully funded, they have a little bit of a cushion there. I don't like that practice, so we don't engage in that practice. I think that if we're going to ask for money, we should ask for what we actually need, as opposed to, you know, we want $30,000, but we'll take 10. That's just, that strikes me as dishonest.
We appreciate that.
Any other questions?
Do you have the numbers for how many students from this university participate in this event?
In the past, over the course of 3 days, we end up usually, with kind of native students, we end up usually between 300 to 500, I would think. And that's kind of a guesstimate. I don't have a hard number. The problem is that when we do talk about it, we do take it out into the community. And so sometimes our students get mixed up with other people. I will say that the reaction that we get from the community, the external community, is always positive to this event. And the reaction that we've had from students is positive for the most part. I can't say that our students, now when they come in, they get a little, a brief speech from me about basically proper respect. Very few phones out, very few kind of distracted people. It's one of the things that I think is remarkable about it is that there are very few of our students who do what they normally do, like in classes and whatnot. We tend to have a large number of students who actually pay attention. I mean, they do get engaged. I mean, a lot of times after the shaking hands and the photographing with students goes on almost as long as the actual speeches do, which of course the survivors generally like. But like I said, the number is anywhere from 300 to 500, I would guess. And that's a guesstimate. If we get funding this year, we'll go out of our way to get you a hard count for next year's request. Excuse me, especially since now we have technology, you can use swipe cards and stuff. We've never done that with students before, so.
Not clear on the total funding that this group is going to be able to provide, but as you know, as part of our QEP, it is designed to have our students become global citizens.
Yes, sir.
No greater event than the Holocaust from a global history perspective is something that our students should need to know about.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's something that, it's one of the reasons why we keep, why we believe in this program. It's kind of influenced also some of the things that we do internally in the department as far as some of our programming decisions internally, simply because of that. And as I said, we're making a concerted effort to kind of expand the scope a little bit. Simply because I just think that would be a good thing. Any other questions? We will get the slides to you as soon as we track them down. I was told that we put on the shared drive for the committee to go through. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.